So I don't know if I really touched on it too much at the very beginning. This has been a few days past, so want to retouch on it, make sure everybody knows. So we went with the 5 millimeters, the 5 millimeter rib nuts. Okay, the 5 millimeter rib nuts use a 7 millimeter drill bit. Okay, if you're like me and you're in the US, it's, you know, a lot of the local places don't carry the 7 millimeters. We have not tried Tractor Supply. We've not tried like 1 or 2 other places. However, the size for a 7 millimeter rib nut, not including the ribs, the little like ribs that go into the part where you don't want it to move. The smooth shaft part is around 271, 272-ish thousandths of an inch. So if you can find a drill bit close, that's great. We could not find one that was like really close. It was either way over or way under. So what you're gonna see me do is you're gonna see me drill it out, and then you just use a Dremel to try to go around. I'm not going to do that on the plastic bumpers. The plastic bumpers, you can actually get it to push in and do that. Do not open it up. If you do, it'll just spin inside of the bumper or the plastic piece or whatever you're doing the rib nut in, and you're going to hate it. You're not going to like it. You're just going to be like, this is just horrible. So always make sure in plastic that hole is slightly smaller, or I don't know, I say slightly. If you can force it in that smaller hole, do it. That way when it actually clamps down, it holds better. So, alright, so let's get back into the process. I use a Dremel with a little bit on the fenders and the metal pieces to open it up to accept the actual rib nut.
Okay, y'all, I am back this week working on the side skirts, factory side skirts and aftermarket, and then the front lip.
Alright, so after we removed the side skirts and the front lip extension that was on here, went ahead and cut out the wheel arch in our fender. Alright, so for people that are doing this, the over fender will not clear your fender without this L shape cut out of it. I just followed the factory side skirt on the other side, turned out great. It also let me leave this bolt hole. And then on the other side, following the contour to the other side, so your fender literally does a 90 right here and leaves this little tab back here for that plastic bracket that connects to your connects up here by the headlight and secures your bumper as well as it can, or not the bumper but the that bracket to your fender. I did not want to remove that. I wanted to leave it. So what I did is I did like another little 90, left this little tab right here, so I have that connection. Plus I wasn't going to cut my bumper. I don't feel like I need to right now. When we'll cross that path when we get there. If I have to cut it, then I will, but as of right now we don't need to. And even when I get my when we get the wheel spacers, we won't need to currently. We're gonna do airbags on this car, so we'll figure it out when that happens. So I've seen a lot of people when they do their wide bodies, they cut way past just that wheel arch. You do not, I don't feel like you need to do that with this kit, and for two good reasons. You're not really running an aggressive offset, even if you're running bags, unless you're trying to drive super low. And if you are, I wish you the best of luck, but we're not trying to do that. We'll park it low, but we're gonna ride stock heights. So the issue that you're gonna run into if you cut it that high is there's your harness. There's your harness, there's your wiper blade, sprayers, all the lines for it and everything. So you're gonna run into that issue, and you're gonna have to resolve that issue before you start cutting, or otherwise you're gonna. Okay, so when you're getting ready to test fit everything and get everything lined up, mark your holes as centered as you can. You can go as far as breaking out millimeter measuring tape if you want to. That's up to you. We didn't do that. All we did is just go ahead and mark our middles, get it lined up. And I have noticed that for some reason on this side, it does not line up quite as close as it did on the other side. So kind of got a plan for that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tap my top hole and work my way down. Because it is fiberglass, you can heat it up to make it more malleable and be more flexible with you when you're trying to do all this. So we're gonna hold it in place. That's where it goes. We're gonna drill our pilot hole. I am right-handed, not left-handed, so this is not the easiest thing to do. Making sure I was not walking with the bit. All right, could I have a test bolt?
Test bolt. Test bolt.
Okay, so when you're doing this, you don't want to wallow out your hole for on your piece. So it's best if you do your drill your hole, stop. You're not going to drill all the way through the bumper and this. There's just no way to make that hole right. So drill your hole, check your piece. It looks like it did pretty well. All right. So next I'm going to do what is called a Cleco clamp. And the Cleco clamp will hold it in place. At the very beginning of the video, I showed y'all all the tools that I was going to be using. Now everything is lining up where it belongs. 100% where it belongs. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold the bottom. We're going to go ahead and drill our very, very bottom one. Okay, grab your test bolt after you get done drilling it. What you don't want is you don't want to be able to screw this into your fiberglass piece. You want to just be able to pass through in the hole very nice and easy, no issues. Mine is catching, so I'm going to go in a little bit more. Open that hole up a little bit more.
I have the smaller one if you need it.
There we go. Alright, so that is on there. It is completely lined up with the bumper. This fitment gap is going to be better because I did the top one first and then positioned it where it needed to be. So going back to not cutting that tab off, you'll see how far your lip comes. Alright, so in all technicalities, you shouldn't have to cut this anyways, because your wheel shouldn't ever hit this. I mean, it shouldn't. That's butted up to the factory area. Alright, so now we're going to finish up our other holes. And we'll show you how to get this done pretty quickly. Okay, that's that one. You can clean out from behind the kit after you pull it back off to finish up your holes for your rivets. Unless it comes out when you drill it. Alright, get your test bolt again. A lot of this is just rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So, okay. Perfect. Perfect. Alright. So now, all my holes are drilled. We're going to pull the Cleco clamps back off. Sometimes they don't like to come off so easy. That one came off nice and easy. Alright. So now, 4 nice holes. Here's your holes in your pieces. One there, one there. You get the drift. Alright. So now we're gonna drill out our pilot holes to accept our 7mm rib nut. It's actually a 5mm rib nut, but it's a 7mm diameter. Whew, Jesus. That was quick.
Sharp bit.
Yeah, no lie. Okay. Now, I want to show y'all people up close. This is what I'm talking about. Other than just a little bit of a burr from the plastic. That's what you want. See how I can't really force it in. That's exactly what you want. You don't want it any bigger than that, especially on these plastics. So we're gonna drill the rest of these nice and slow, hopefully, not as fast. Okay. These are brand new drill bits, so it's very, very sharp. Alright, so again, just make sure you go back and test, make sure you didn't open it up. If you open up the plastics, it's not the end of the world. There are actual plastic rib nuts meant for plastic bumpers and everything like that. I've never used them, but they're meant for that, for this purpose in general. So, okay. Earlier in the video, I kind of went into how to set your tool up. We learned a little bit more last time off camera, so I'll kind of explain that. So when you go to put it in, I'm just bracing the part with my foot behind it. Quite literally, again, you want it to be tight, especially in the plastics. Alright, then you squeeze once. Alright, that actually starts the tool. Now, I'm gonna try to show you all this. I can't. I wanted to show you all exactly where to tighten it back up to get it to work properly, but my camera will not focus, unfortunately. I'm gonna take a picture with my phone and I'll put it in the video. Alright, I tightened it up. Now I'm just gonna give it a squeeze. When you're doing this, go very slow. Two things: you're putting pressure on all the splines inside the rib nut. You need to kind of feel it out. You don't need to just go all willy-nilly and just think you're gonna bust them out one after the other, after the other, after the other. Don't do that.
No need to He-Man or Hulk it.
Yeah, no He-Man, no hulking. So what I did is I went down to my initial place, and I'll take a picture of that. And put it on there, and I'll put it in session of how to tighten everything up. Now on the last ones, on the plastics, the metal's a little bit different, but the plastics, I only do 2 turns. And then go and redo it. The reason why is you don't want to strip those threads, but you do want to give it a tight enough squeeze where it doesn't spin in your plastics. If you're installing this kit in the plastics and it starts to spin because, I don't know, one of the threads you didn't realize is kind of kicked up and it kind of starts to cross thread and it starts spinning, don't freak out, don't get all pissed off, don't get upset. You've already removed the inner fender wells, you've already done all that. Get you a pair of pliers. Don't He-Man it. Just squeeze the back of the rib nut just enough to where you can get your drill or your Allen key or whatever you're using. I use a drill, and you can back that screw back out. After you back it out, you can get your tool again. You can screw it back in, and you can give it another little squeeze to see if you can tighten that rib nut up. So what we did on the other side, it worked perfectly. So all right, so we took a little break. Kind of get a little something to drink, whatnot. But we're back to it. I'm gonna hurry up and get all these done so we can go to dinner. So, again, okay. Test bolt. Test fine. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put clinkers all the way down.
Yes.
Reagan, you ever use the clinker tool? Alright, anyways. There's that one. We'll go ahead and just get a bunch of them. Just want to make this more streamlined. Okay, drill bit. Drill. So you'll notice that behind here, without this being attached, is very flimsy. So when you go to screw this in, you need to be careful because you'll actually push the fender behind the fiberglass in, and you'll make the hole in your fiberglass part wider than you need to when you go to push in the metal. Alright, so we're back with the rear quarter before we do the side skirt, just like we did on the other side. Went ahead and drilled my piece to match it up to my rear bumper line. That way we know that's a straight line. Get that done first, and then what I suggest is coming over here and looking at your other side, match the little gap that you got right here. It's like a little tiny lip. Do this one and then work on these two, because these two are going to push this down, but you have to have this secured. So we're going to go to our other side real quick. I'm going to get a quick measurement, make sure, just eyeballing it right there. Okay, where is my test screw, test bolt? It's on top of the car. Yep, fits my hole. Get a Clico tool. Alright. Alright, that one's too small for the hole that it drilled. There we go. Alright. I have my lovely wife go to the other side. I'm going to take the camera, comparing the gaps. Where that is. We'll go around to the other side.
Yeah, that's great. It's awesome.
Okay.
Hey,
We were looking at this gap right there. And then we're looking at this gap right here. Looks good. Looks like everything's straight and solid. So to get the camera back to her. Okay. Now, we know that one has to come off. This has to be pushed up a little bit. We know that.
Right.
Because it's got to close that gap over there.
And a tip we discussed on the way to grab a bite to eat earlier was we probably should have started and done the front fenders first on both sides.
Yeah.
And worked our way back.
She's right. Just completely work the whole front. So do both front pieces, both front fenders first. That way you can line everything up. Alright, so what we noticed is that on the passenger side where the fender laid, it was actually kicked more towards the tire. It was pulling itself towards the tire. And I didn't notice that because first time putting it on, so I put it right where it laid. When I got to the driver's side, the mold was actually more towards the door, not the tire. So it didn't quite line up right. So I had to go to the other side and figure out where, that side was already, because we've already done the whole other side. You can't, change everything. So I went and just kind of pulled it back. Pushed this side back towards the tire a little bit and, measured everything, got everything lined up. So it's all the same. We did notice that on users' pictures on Instagram of the kits being put on other cars. Some fenders are pulled more back, like I said earlier, than other ones are pushed more forward. So, looking at the gaps, these are actually right. These gaps are 100% right compared to the other side. So we're going to go ahead and do our door holes before we do these.
Now with these door holes, the thing about making sure you do not have a hole too big, this is where it starts mattering.
Now, let's see. Now, if you'll notice, I've got this one screwed in. I'm gonna put a Cleco tool here with the door open. I'm not going to do this one down here yet. I'm gonna, cause you see how it's stepped up over this? I want to pull this down to get it lined flat to the door sill. But I've also got to pull this out and line it up with this gap right here. There it goes. Perfect. All right. So now, okay. Pull that off. And yeah. Yeah. Okay, that is 100% right. Okay, so the only problem with this part and this part is that you can't just go ahead and do all of it together. You've got to pull this panel back off, and the reason being is this, when you're trying to drill this through, if you're not careful, because you're going through so much more, this will become way too big. So there's another way we can do it. Let's just get a different drill bit, just to make a pilot hole. Go get these super sharp ones that we have. Now that we're back, got everything lined up again. It lined up pretty flush, pretty easy. What I'm going to do is I've got a smaller drill bit that is gonna run this into the car. That thing pulled. Alright, we're still good. You gotta be careful when drilling, especially in the metal. It'll pull itself towards the car. So just keep in mind, full thought about that. You saw it, it just happened. Alright. Now, you gotta just try to push that all the way in. Alright. So now we're going to take it back off, get our holes down here drilled out, and these three. After these four are put back in, then we'll do our other ones and come back to it. When it comes to these kind of panels where you got to shift them and kind of get them to do what you need them to do, you got to do them in steps. And I will say, Peter from the Monster Service, he's a really good guy. When I couldn't order this kit originally, I messaged him and he was quick to message me back, and direct me on what I needed to do. So remember, we just gotta drill our holes out. Remember to be careful. Don't let it pull all the way in. You don't know what kind of wires are behind here. You can't see it. You don't really know. So unless you put this car together at the factory. Okay, that one's done. We're gonna get ourselves a rivet. That's perfect. It's still gonna need some work to go into it, but it's not bad. Okay. Okay. One more to get the drill out. Because all I'm trying to do is open it up a little bit, just so I can get the tip of this in there. Because again, we couldn't find 7mm drill, but okay, that one's ready. Okay, that one's ready. Now for this one. Oh, come on. This one right here, like I said, comes in contact back here a little bit with the inner fender liner. And what I did is I didn't go up as far on my bit, on the rod and on the threads. That way I could get it started, and then after I got it started, I went back and added some more pressure. I just slowly worked it where it squeezed it into place. So. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Okay. Alright, now we need to bolt and smash these. So far, 2 are done. I fixed the one that was down here with the splines that were messed up in it. Ran it down, no problem. Anti-seize, we just took it slow as we went through it. I've also set that bolt aside. That way when I go to put all this back together, that bolt will actually be for that hole. That way that hole has no problems following the splines. And as of so far, no issues whatsoever running these in. The kit comes with bolts that are slightly smaller than the one I got right here. The reason why we got longer bolts is that because we noticed that going into this through the other one and into the body panel, it was not catching as like it should. The kit wasn't properly going on, and it was only so catching. All right, my wife had to go inside and start getting things ready for this week coming up, so I gave permission to finish this side of the car tonight. That way it's at least just knocked out and done. So we're gonna continue on with what we've been working on and what we're doing. And I'm gonna start down here. You're not gonna be able to see it, but two more. All right. So now that is all of the bolts, bolt holes pre-drilled and everything getting ready for sinking the rib nuts in, taking care of all that kind of stuff. So now that those are done, we've got to remove the ones that we already have in here. Go back, re-drill these, and all this good stuff. So a lot of fun. But first, I'm gonna take, since we've already got this one down here done, I'm gonna go ahead and drill the one down there, and we're gonna lock it in place. That way it's taken care of. So we're gonna do this one right here. And it looks to be right where it needs to be. I do need a marker. Well, we'll just kind of eyeball it. Okay, got my test screw right here. All right, so now that that's all done, Everything's been pre-drilled. We're gonna take apart. You know what? Let's put in a clink. Let's use a Clinko tool and we're gonna use a Clinko tool and go ahead and put this one in place. We're gonna go ahead and finish drilling down the side. That way all these are done. Might as well. Then all of our holes are pre-drilled. And then all we gotta do is go back through and finish it up. Okay, this one's not going to move because it's already attached there and there. Okay, and the last one. Back this up. And the last one. Where is that bolt? There's the bolt. All right. Now it's time to pull everything off the car and finish drilling out all of our holes and rib nutting everything. So okay, so when you get to this point right here, remember that all of your wiring runs right through here. So if you have to, you can pull this little foam out, but I'm pretty sure mine just went into the foam. I'm pretty sure I didn't hit anything. You can open the door and look. No, I went straight into that foam. So, but before you start doing the rest of them, over here, the ones that are right here, here, and over here, just remember, there are wiring harnesses right there, so be very, very, very careful. Okay, so now we're going to go down the whole car with the Dremel and our test rivet and open up our holes, get everything cleaned out, and then we're We're going to rivet every single one of them, and then we're going to run screws back through it just like we've done as I showed you on the front, as I showed you on the back. And we'll just get this project done. Alright, the rest of the kit is now finished on, it's done. So we're on to the last part of this kit. This is the part that kind of scares some people, I would imagine, just because of it's a door. Doors are expensive if you mess them up. But if you got this far, you've already cut rear quarter panels, which I haven't cut those yet, front fenders, and you've drilled, let's see here, 65 holes in your car. So, nothing to be scared about. Just be mindful of your gaps. Okay, so what I mean by that is, over there, when I lined this up, I lined this up so it was completely flush with this right here. So there's no step, no gaps, no nothing like that. Alright, then I took tape like this and I got it to hold where I could drill it. So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill this one first, which is the bottom. Then that'll let me shift and move the top to where it needs to be. Alright, so with your bottom one attached on the door, what you want to do is you want to do the next one that you want to drill is the very, very top one. That's after you get it lined up best you can with the corner of this and the door sill. Okay. Now, alright, so the reason why we're not going to keep pushing and putting a whole bunch of holes in our doors and everything like that is because the placement for some of these holes is in a weird place. This is in a door jamb. So this right here goes, it pretty much goes straight into the door jamb, and you actually have to drill a hole straight through your door, which kind of looks very, very wonky, but I'm going to show you right now. You have to have the door open to do this. I can clean that up with the Dremel. So the other one is also at a weird place, and it is right here. It goes literally right under that seal, but it's going to go make a hole straight through your car, straight through the door, just like the top did. So just be prepared for that. Don't freak out about it. Like I said, you've already gone this far with everything else. Not really a reason to freak out now. So we're gonna drill our hole straight in. Okay, so with that done, now we can get our Dremel and do like we did last time, which is kind of make those holes except the pop rivets or the rib nuts. So, gotta get my safety glasses right here. Okay, now I'm going to do the bottom one first. It was the one that gave me the most trouble on the other side. Show y'all what you have to do. First off, I'm about messed up. Take your rib nut. Alright, you see how that's not going in? It's not going all the way in. The reason why it's not going in is because it's hitting that second layer of metal on the back. So what we're going to do is we're going to open the door. We're going to take our Dremel and we're literally going to open up the back side. Okay, and you're just going to have to keep testing it and see if it'll go in. Alright, mine now clears. Alright, so that's all you have to do. And there is the rib nut. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and tack that top one. Oh, let me show you this. Alright, so what I was talking about was this right here. See, it's literally in the weather sealing. But it does not cause an issue with the door shutting at all. So, I mean, there's no problems with it shutting. It doesn't hit the inside. There's no issues at all. Same thing goes on the bottom. Alright, now that that's done, we can get our bolts and our washers. We can literally run this down into the door. Alright, so that one's in. I need another bolt and washer. Okay. Even though I'm doing like kind of, you know, test fitting and all that kind of stuff, I do not, and I repeat, do not run down any of the parts without the washers. Alright, let's start tightening up already. There we go, that one's good. Alright, that's good. This should fit tight. Comes right on out. Good deal. Works as a spacer. Now that that's done, we repeat processes all over again. And we get our last bit of drilling done, our last bit of enlarging holes and riveting, and we will be done. Well, actually I lied. We won't be 100% done. We have to take and also add in bolts back here under the fenders, rear quarter panel to the bumper and front fender to the bumper. And I'll show you what I mean, but I want to get this done first. When I go to put this back on, after we get all of our holes ready and prepared for this piece to go for the last time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and put my piece of cardboard that acts as a spacer right here in place, like so, and put my part on and screw it down. Then I'll remove this, that way there's that little finite gap that I want in there. Because you don't want pieces bumping into each other and hit, you know, doing all that kind of stuff. Rubbing on each other. It's not a good look. Alright, let's get these last ones done. shuts, no problem. This is nice and tight all the way down. Well, even though that was in there, it's in there. But it's in there. It's nice. So I don't need the anti-seize anymore. We're not doing any rivets. And get some of our tools together. And then I'm going to show you all exactly the last part of this. Now, said we were almost done, and we are. Except for bolts. Some more of these bolts. Okay, so plan B. It's not as easy as I thought it was going to be on this side. I'm literally having to take all the bolts out except for the very, very bottom one. That way, actually I'm going to have to take it I'm going to take it all apart. That way I can get all this together. Good news is, it should all line right back up, no problems. Should, I hope. The other side lined up slightly different than this side. Okay, so we got our part off. Where's our washer? And the washer's on it. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and just drop it from the top. Yeah. Oh. Which way is it easier? Say, you're gonna be a pain in the ass too. Okay. Where's my... Where's the nut? There it is. Okay, if I can get this started, I'll explain to you exactly what I happen to do here. Alright, so take your part completely off again. Get your Allen, get your is tightening. Alright, so take your part off and get it started. I'm using nylon nuts, so I didn't want it backing back off. That's also another reason why I'm struggling right now, is to kind of get this in place. But I felt like the nylon fasteners were the best bet. Best bang for the buck. Alright, so roughly about a 4-day install, consecutive like working and whatnot. Not 100% done, but we're very close. We just got to cut those rear quarter panels. There's just technically no reason to do it right now. We don't have the wheel spacers yet. Welcome back to the channel. It's been about a week, I think, since we finished up the install. I went ahead and did the rear quarter panel cut, welding it, seam sealing it, doing all that kind of stuff. And I had to reteach myself how to weld, so I didn't videotape that part of it. Just didn't feel like it was a necessary thing to draw y'all through it and everything. But I'm gonna give y'all a walk around. We also got the Monster Service wing put on and my wife's Rally Sport wing put on. It turned out pretty darn good. It's definitely aggressive look now. So without any further ado, let me show y'all. Alright, so give y'all a look at how it turned out. So the Monster Service kit is on. Everything lined up pretty well. Just like any Subaru WRX, those little plastic clips kind of suck and pop out the bumper. It's bolted on the bottom part of that bumper from the kit, but the other part's popping out a little bit at the top. We'll address that here soon. But we got the lip kit, the lip extension put on it. A few people on the Facebook forums have asked where these lips come from. It's actually a lip extension from Icon Motorsports. This was a full lip cut into pieces and made to fit. The side skirts have to be extended by 3 inches because the overall body wheelbase gets extended 3 inches by the body kit. So keep that in mind. If you buy this thinking it's going to fit, it doesn't. It's meant to fit on a stock OEM side skirt, which means this right here, this curve right here, is actually heated up and modified to do that curve. Can't really see where we cut it inside, but it's cut, seam sealed, welded, the whole 9 yards. Give y'all a look at this this back wing setup that my wife chose. We think it turned out pretty good. So definitely an aggressive setup. Hopefully this, process has helped a lot of y'all figure out if y'all want to go wide body or if you don't want to go wide body. It is definitely a process. You have to have specialty tools like a rivet nut gun, Klinko tools. You don't have to have the Klinko tools, but it makes life a lot easier. You have to have a welder, you have to have a grinder, you have to have just a bunch of stuff that you would accumulate over time if this is something you're used to working with and doing. For me, it was a big learning experience. It was a lot of learning the skills that I had once learned that over time you become really rusty at. You gotta pick it back up and teach yourself how to do it again. So this has been a process of about 3 years to get the car looking like it does now. It's gone over 2 transformations to what it is now, and if y'all just stick with me, you'll get to see the end process of it being painted, because we're going to paint it right here in this garage. I'm not paying somebody to paint the car. I want to do it myself. If this helped you learn a lot and make your final decisions, please like, subscribe, comment. If you see something where we could have done something different and it would have made our process easier and better the next time that we might do something like this, please leave it in the comments. I don't care if you tell me I'm a dumb butt and I did it completely backwards. It's all a learning experience, and I would love it if y'all would get involved with me and help me grow, and hopefully I can help y'all grow and make decisions on stuff that you need to pick up on. So until next time, remember, if it's not fun, what's the point?